Not 1 minute or so.
Yes, we are live. Awesome.
It does. Yeah. Cool. For the chat, um, let me bring the chat thing on, and as usual, Imran, if you can help
Yes.
manage the chat,
Yep.
very good. And you can also post this link.
Awesome.
Oh,
Shall we get started, or are we waiting on Tom to join us?
And he won't be able to join in.
Oh, he won't be able to. Okay.
okay.
No,
I
no.
didn't read the next message. I was like,
Yeah,
what the
even
hell?
I didn't read the next message.
Okay, I think it's time. We get started for the folks who are online watching this or the recorded version of this after the event. Who are these bunch of fellows, on the screen? I'll do a quick thing. We are MyGigsters. We are a startup company based in Australia, and we are with the mission of making gig workers financially secure and safe at their work. What do we do? That's a big statement. What do? We have an amazing community of gig workers of all sorts: rideshare, delivery drivers, dog walkers, content developers, designers, musicians, anyone who's working off a digital platform, part of this amazing group. And in addition to this group, we also have a tool that helps our users or community members to track their earnings, their income, get insights about their tax, GST, and all sorts of other fun and games within the application. So we run this session. This is our third live design session, and this is almost like a, instead of us having a Zoom chat, we simply plug it to our Facebook and YouTube live. So this is exactly how you work. Um, I'll quickly introduce the team, but I thought we'll take the opportunity to share what's behind the scene, what are we talking about, and how do we actually build at the community and also the application that we are really passionate about. So it's almost like we invite you into our office, and this is our office, to take part in a design along with us, and also to contribute from your perspective. The questions, the challenges, the suggestions, the ideas, on all sorts of things. So if you are watching this after the live event, you can always go into the video and put your comments in. Um, and that'll be nice, and we will attend to it. So there's also if you're not in Facebook, YouTube, there is another chat window you can use that's called chat.restream.io/fp, and that's also something that you can use for your chat. Cool. Quick intro into the room. So I've got Imran. Hi, Imran. So Imran is our lead product growth and also takes care of marketing and comms. He's responsible for the session actually, and anything related to bringing user into the soft development process. And next on screen, I've got Vinti. Vinti is our UX designer. So she basically hears the stories of our users, empathizes with our users to make sure that whatever we are building and designing is very centric to the user and it actually solves their problem. And she plays a very key role in getting all of our wild ambitions into something visible. Swami, last but not least, is a CTO of MyGigsters. He champions everything under tech. So we're going to talk about something tech today and more than design. So Swami is going to be heavily involved in this conversation, I assume. And he leads. Yeah, Swami.
Excited, looking forward.
Yes. Cool. Awesome. So that's the house here at the moment. We might be inviting a few more guests down the lane in the next 30 minutes. The session is only for the next 30 minutes, and we'll try to pack up as much as we can. So Imran, what are we talking about today?
Awesome. Thanks, Benji, for the introduction. So let's get cracking, I guess. Today is a very exciting topic. It's something that I've personally been very passionate about, and a number of users have also raised this as a question, as a concern, or even as something that they observed, which is security. And being a financial company at the base, security is has to be at the core of what we do while we are traveling towards achieving our value and our mission. So today we are going to be talking about how we are going to look at security from a UX perspective, as in for the user. How would we show security when they go through the journey from within the app in itself, and how do we seamlessly inbuild that entire concept of security, as because every app has data that they share, that they collect from the user. And today, even more so, security is at the core of almost every company that is focusing on something like this, or even remotely something in the financial services. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how we are looking at security from the UX, how the screens are going to look like from a security lens, and hoping it's going to be an interesting conversation. So I see some chats going on. So how do we run this? Do we run this from the Miro board? How do you guys want to take this, or we can have an open discussion as well about how do we imbibe security?
I
Let's collect.
recommend Miro board because it puts all our thoughts in one place.
Yes.
We got Surinder. Hi, Surinder. For those
Hello.
who are watching this, Surinder is our marketing lead. If you have been bombarded by some ads or some campaigns, that's possibly coming from Surinder's laptop. All right, cool. By the way, Surinder is very popular these days because people love the siren picture. Like, who has put this ad? This is very clickable. All right. Swami, are you planning to share the screen? Is that the
I
plan?
am going to be sharing the screen, absolutely. What we are going to be doing is instead of looking at some app screens, we're going to be talking about,
Yeah.
we're going to be brainstorming, right? Obviously, this is our third session. We definitely invite users to connect with us now with chat. If you want to join the session, let us know. You can put in your comments in our Facebook or YouTube comments. We'll pick it up and we'll get you onto the call. And again, the discussion does not end here. It just starts here. If you do find your way this week, next month, doesn't matter. If you have a thought, put your thoughts in. We are a super excited bunch. We always want to hear you talk. Alrighty. Now that's out of the way. Let's start with a clean slate here. That's how I like boards to start, brainstorming. So the way I look at security is in sort of three ways, guys. One is the backend, the application's backend or the backstage, and that's where your data lives. That's where any information that you shared lives. So it's got to be pretty treated with a lot of sanctity. And then there is a transport between, well, then there's a
Swami, do you
front
want
end.
to zoom in a bit because I'm not able to?
Yes,
Yep. Yep. Same. Yeah. I think that should help, I guess.
getting better, guys.
Yeah, a little bit more. I think that'll help, Swami.
Okay,
Yes. Yes, that's good.
cool. Then there's this front end, and front end is where you're obviously punching the data in, where you're looking at the data. Definitely needs to be secure. Is that all? Well, there's definitely the, the transport that happens between the front end and the back end. The data travels back and forth. We need that to be secure as well. It's kind of how we put a lens on security of your data just within the app, right? Um, Now, with respect to backend, you're going to be I'm going to be starting off with a few things that we have as security, or what we have done to keep your data secure. First of all, we build in AWS public cloud. It's really secure. There are a lot of security best practices inbuilt within the
So,
platform itself.
So just for the people who don't know the acronym, AWS is Amazon Web Services. It's the service that Amazon provides for hosting. It's their server that we host on.
Absolutely. And this is the number one cloud platform, 40% market share, super duper secure. We're pretty passionate about building in AWS. Um,
And this data resides here, isn't it? Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I read your mind. I read your mind.
We precise in Sydney. Right?
We won't give the address to the place, of course.
So, Swami, in layman terms, what does this mean for the user?
What this means for the user is that their data never leaves Australia. The data lives within the country, which means that it is protected by the laws of the country, um, and it's not kind of being shipped overseas, etc. So the data is more secure. Righty, keep your questions coming, people. What else do we do?
So
Again, can we don't we are specifically talking about security of the entire application, or specifically about certain things, because in one side we have people's income and expenses in our platform, um, where they can actually manually add it, but also they can add it through a bank sync. um, we don't know what their bank credentials are, so we it's by design we don't get it, and
Yeah.
also by design we don't, like, if Swami has earned $100, like, we don't know that, we don't know who Swami is actually.
Mm.
so before you get into that, Benji, that brings me to the other question. What is the data that we collect? What are the data points that we get when a user goes through the journey?
I can start, and then maybe Swami will be able to add on. I
Yeah.
think from an onboarding perspective, if you are choosing social logins, we get the email address to ensure you're like a real email active user. And there are a couple of fields that you will fill in your onboarding thing. For example, you will tell which gig service you are working for. You would tell your age, because this app is not for young people, like less than 18 years old, ideally for adults. Um, so we collect that age. We also sometimes we get ask you for phone number, because again this has banking information in it, or financial information in it. So we don't want you to mislead it. So apart from that, in order for the app to work, we get some permissions, right? We That's for the functionality of the app to perform, which is, for example, mileage tracking. We use a GPS of the phone to plot how much distance that the driver has driven, or the vehicle has traveled. For that we use the GPS information. But this is where I don't think we store all the coordinates they've gone, and we don't really put all of that in a storage, because we don't that's not something that people need at this point. We only capture what is required for providing that insight. Is there any other information on top of this?
The bank details?
We don't capture bank details. That's probably something actually many users think that we do, because they obviously in our app they select the bank, and they actually put their bank credentials through the app. But we actually don't collect them. We don't even know what it is. Swami may be able to expand on this, but that's something that yeah, we don't get it.
Swami, you're
Speaking
on
on
mute.
mute,
Yes.
coming out of it, you would think you would have grown over that habit in 2021, right? Cool. So there are, I think, great start, Benji. So we've got sort of three different types of data here, right? I think that's what you and Wimpy start off with. One is the demographic data. Here's the what and the why. I think Benji already covered it. Then we've got some permissions, right? And then the third is the statements. Let's say account statements. Which one do we want to speak about now? Permissions or account statements?
We can talk about account statements probably.
Yeah, yeah. I think most of our users,
Yes.
they are
Yes.
happy to give permissions because they know what the functionality is. They have to track mileage, they have to track this, and they're happy to do so. I think many are worried like Benjamin will take all the money from their bank.
Yeah, the
But
account statement is the elephant in the room. I think we can address
yeah,
that,
I
right?
think the elephant in the room. Yes, yes. Um,
Let's talk about account statement, right? But before we go to the account statement, again, let's put the lens of how secure the data is, or how the security of the whole process. We do use Elian as our Elian bank feeds as our sort of backend solution partner. They are the ones that go fetch the details from the account statements. Um, Elian what used to be called Dun& Bradstreet. They have been in Australia for eons and years and years. They are a number one service provider. That solution is used by almost all mortgage brokers, so many other fintech solutions as well. So their solutions been independently tested and audited by external security experts. Pretty much all the banks and a lot of brokers use it. As I said, the data is encrypted with a bank level 256-bit encryption. They are secured by 2048-bit keys, really unbreakable vault there. These statements are provided only to specific parties. No one, even within MyGigsters team, can just go and pull the data out of an individual, right? It's pretty much secure. The whole connection is secure, and a market leader is, Elian is providing this service to us. That's
On that note, just to add a little bit of Alien, because not a lot of people might know Alien. Uh, Alien has been in the business of providing banking infrastructure for about 130 years now, and they they have almost close to around I think some major companies in the Australian market under their portfolio. So I'll put the website on the chat for anyone who's interested to go have a look at what they are, who they are, what they do, and that'll give some introduction to the company and who they are basically.
that's very good point there, Imran. Um, Again, why do we need account statements though? Right? We need it because I'm gonna, various different reasons, right? A lot of people that we researched or talked to called out one of the things like, they wanted to know income per kilometer. They want to know what their operating income is as a business. Because like it or not, rideshare drivers and delivery drivers and all these freelancers that we service as our customers, you're all solopreneurs, right? Sometimes we do see that that's not sort of felt that way because every business has a balance sheet, and how many times do you look at your balance sheet, right? Expense minus income and taxes and everything. So we did hear that as a problem that you guys wanted to solve, and we kind of thought, well, let's use a market leader to help us with getting the account statements data, and let's analyze and give you guys the one data point of what's your net income. And do we stop there? We don't. I think we've got a host of other information as well. Um, you know, we tell you how much you earn by platforms, which platform works for you, what day of the week works for you, what day of the week and platform as a combination works for you. I don't know, Benji and Imran, you guys have been pretty passionate about it. Do you want to add more things that we are sharing with users?
I think with the idea for in the idea because I have used my personal bank account to do gig work. At one point, it gets really messy because you don't have a proper hygiene of separating business and personal, and then you after if that discipline you can still do, but once you miss the discipline, it becomes really messy, and then you only rely on the statements that you have, and then and you would lose out on tax 100%. you will lose on tax reduction at least by $100, and I guarantee that. That's mainly because it's very hard. Like in a year, you would have like done 200 transactions for business. Especially if you're driving car, I guarantee you would have done 200 transactions for driving a car. You miss it out. I think that's something that this feature helps, right? It tells you on a daily basis, what has been your expense, and it allows you to also do something really smart, which I like personally. Is you can say it's whether for personal use or business use. You can also say whether it's half or half. Like you can set a percentage in between. Like you could say 80% of that fuel is for business and 20% for personal use, and that's really cool. Even in the existing Commonwealth Bank account, I cannot do that. Like I can go tell, like I can tell Commonwealth Bank can tell me, I put fuel at 7-Eleven, but it don't tell me like it's for business. I have to tell that. Let's say I put that fuel and I've used 80% of the fuel for business. That Commonwealth Bank can't do that. I have to manually go do it. This fuel is not probably the best example. If you are driving, don't put 80% for business and personal. Just write it off as business. That's a tip. Um, but other expenditures, you can always have this in between thing. So I see expenses as a great avenue. Um, But what can we from increasing the security now? By the sound of it, we've got a great provider, great vendor. We've got a certified provider, highly secure provider. We're using a secure infrastructure that's abiding by the regulations and rules in Australia for data protection and data privacy. Um, but there's something that we need to do, right? We need to do for our users to know this, and I'm thinking state of my mind is communication. We need to let our users know the amount of security that we have established to not only protect their data but also to protect their infrastructure as a whole. um, how about we is there something that you want to talk about, like what could be a good action of communication that we can do to our community and our users?
I think that's a good point, Benji, because right now, the way the MyGigsters app is positioned is not completely as a financial service app. It's positioned as, like, for example, if you look at the App Store description, or if you look at all our marketing communications, part of it is talking about tax, and talking about how it will help the gig workers as a toolkit. But in essence, at the core of it, we need to imbibe that concept of financial services tool in the communications and in the way the app is positioned. Because if I download, let's say, another financial services app, I will probably not hesitate as much to provide my banking details with them, because I'm going with the intention on that it's a financial services app. I don't know if you have nailed that completely with the current
Mm.
form.
You're right. There is more to do outside the app than to do inside the app. like um, like for example, one action item that I'm thinking is you should have a dedicated page on your website to talk about how data is secure. And that page has to be marketed, or that page has to be widely shared and should be available on demand from the app, from our newsletters, from our community channels. At any given point in time, people should be able to go read, okay, what data are you collecting about me, and how are you keeping it secure, and if I have some issues, how can I reach out to you? um, I want to delete my data. Data ownership is yours. So um, of course, system can't do it. We can do it. But those things we need to. I think that's one item. I think there should be a dedicated page just to talk about how data is being secure, and we need to talk about the bank sync and third-party vendors such as Alien and how Alien is protected and all of that sort.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. I think especially the part where you said, like, we need to convey that they are in control of the data, and they can always choose to not show their stop their bank statement sync, or take control of their bank statement data as well, or delete that sync that they have. So
Yep.
in the app and outside the app, we need to have a page that conveys that. That's a good takeaway point.
The other thing I would also we can do is put out a FAQ guide, and in that FAQ guide, actually how the questions are, right? I have security concerns of linking my bank account. Will Benji steal my money? And that could be an FAQ, and actually people, and we could write Benji won't steal his money even though he doesn't have, and that's so we could do that, and it gives our audience an opportunity, to read and get that information. The other thing I was thinking about is, now that we are having a chat about Elian, I think we should definitely get Elian into the conversation, maybe in a podcast channel, in our own podcast episode, or in one of these community events. We have community events pretty much every week. We should get Elian to come and share, their century-old history with us, and also to talk about why data is secured, or what data security do they have. And that's a direct voice to the community, and that'll add more value.
That's a very good idea, Benji. I also strongly feel that we have the potential to create a platform that empowers gig workers financially so much that they don't look at gig work as a backup plan to 9 to 5. This should be their main 9 to 5. And that's the ideal place that we want to reach with all these little tools and services that we add onto our platform and make it so big one day.
Yep. The other ways, Imran, you do a lot of posts on our page and Instagram, and sometimes security is, anybody can, please challenge me. Sometimes security, the word itself is scary. Like data protection, threat, and all of these are very, it has this negative connotation to that
Sure. Yeah.
now. I think our audience is young audience, right? They would need to be educated about this to an extent, because they're all between early 20s to 35, and they need to be educated about what are the risks and how it is getting mitigated. But also the way that we communicate shouldn't be like one of these terms and conditions, product disclosure statement that nobody reads. Nobody reads that, and it's somewhere written in one line that your data is protected. I think we should come up with a set of creatives or a set of social content that is very much tailored to our audience, who can consume bits and pieces of data security within a minute, like 60 seconds of how MyGigsters protects your data, 60 seconds of how your bank information is highly secure, 60
Yeah.
seconds of how Benji doesn't steal your money. Things like that.
Great ideas.
I think that'll have a much more real impact, and over time people will know, and I think they'll appreciate it. By the way, hey community, it's anyone who's listening to this after the fact or now, you can always drop in how do you want to receive this content? What are some of the questions that you have in mind that you want us to answer? And why would you not share bank account, or why would you share bank account, not bank account, bank statements with us? And I would like to know more about it and understand that. So drop in your comments, or you can simply join our community and also share it there, or write to hello@mygigsters.com.au. You got hundreds of different ways to connect with me and the team. So yeah, please do.
That kind of triggers another thought there. If you're preparing creatives, do you want to put it in the community as well? Just 4 or 5 sort of summary facts that we have, like data residency and so on and so forth. Is it worth
Yeah.
putting it in the community as well?
Yeah, I like the unknown facts of MyGigsters. Under the hood series.
Benji and the team, how about when users are giving permission on the app, there's a little pop-up that says something on the lines of, don't worry, your data is safe, we can't see it, or something like that, that adds an element of fun, but at the same time, an assurance. It's just an idea we could think about.
We add that
You mean
now, but I think we added before they sync the bank account. It's like not after they sync it, because I think it'll be more. It's a good point. I don't know. My emotion is after I sync the bank account, and now you tell me that you can't see it. Sounds a bit. I really wanted to be told that before I sync the bank
Before.
account. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fair, actually.
Yeah. The Now that we're talking about communication, I think it's also we need to address the thing around. I think someone told me, like, I'm not going to name the person, but one of our community members told. I asked the person, why didn't you why didn't you use auto sync functionality? And he's like, no, I'm using my personal account, and you know what? I've got different transaction. I don't want you to know about it. How do you overcome this? This is people who genuinely think this feature will add value, but it's just that their personal account, and they don't want to expose their personal finances to us. And what do we do with those kind of challenges, or not challenges? What do we do with those kind of emotions and use cases? I have an answer. I did give an answer. I said you can manually add any time of the day. You can manually add your income and expense, but obviously that's only a normal answer. What can we do more than that?
one of the things that we have done is to allow users to tag business expenses. Anything that is a personal expense, again, it's not like nobody's reading through statements, or it is
Mm.
not shared with any government agency or private agency for whatever reason, right? It never happens. So one of the things that we have done is to allow people to tag their business expenses. So the moment you've tagged them, only those are going to be included in any of the calculations or any of the summary reports for taxation purposes that you want us to prepare for you. So yeah, that can be leveraged. That's one way. Any other ideas, team?
I think this goes back to the point that I earlier mentioned, is by the design of the system. I
Mm,
don't know Swami's information. Like, I don't know. I can't say it's Swami. I kind of can't say Imran went to Coles, brought Nutella and bread. I can't tell that. I think
exactly.
by design you can't tell that.
Mm.
Um, and Nutella and bread is not business expense until, I don't know. It could be, but let's say it's not business
Could be
expense
if you're
for now.
hungry while you're
Could be you're
driving. Yeah.
hungry, yes. Uh, but so while that's by design, we don't get that. We don't see that information. We don't know who you are when it comes to that part. And all of this
Mm,
information is only with you, as in, like, it's only showed to you. It's not shown to, like, other gig worker in their app, like how much Imran is spending. We don't do that, and that's not also possible. It's also, while I'm saying this, for those who are listening to this video, here's my another tip. If you are just starting gig work, and if you're like watching this video and what should I do? I'll tell you. Go open a separate bank account. There's a lot of bank accounts you can open, free online accounts, low minimum balance. Just open a bank account and use it only for business. You will thank me later, but that's the most best way to manage your financials. Whenever you get the money, you take the money that you wanted to save outside that account. The rest of the money you have it and use that money for expenses, and that's most best practice. Anyway, um, Swami, do you want to talk about or give a teaser about what are we working? Because I think the community needs to know what is that special thing that we are going to bring that
yes.
would change the game when it comes to income, earnings.
Absolutely. We are super excited. What we are working on is we are actually letting you guys connect to the gig platforms that you work for, whether it is Uber, Uber Eats, and so on. And with your credentials and permissions, take information about your rides and how many kilometers you've driven, rides, and the payment that you've got on a weekly basis. We're going to be taking it from there. We're doing this because, yeah, this is another way for you guys to add your gig income directly from the platforms without having to sync your bank account. So that's another opportunity that you're working on. We are super keen to hear about your feedback. And if some of you are pretty passionate about it, we want to really release that to you as an early version feature or early view sort of feature to get your feedback and see how that works for you. So put in
Yeah,
your comments in the channel and we'll get in touch with you for that.
yes, yes. What's more exciting is it's real time. Like you
Mm.
get the information in real time, so which means we can actually build much more higher sophisticated recommendations for our community, and we can exactly tell which platform, which day, which location, the earnings per hour, earnings per mile. A lot more information can be provided if you're a driver. Even if you're working on one of those digital platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, Expert 360, all of these platforms, we can still get that. So I think this will this will be very easy for them to simply connect and then watch all the data flowing in without having to do the bank thing. But
Absolutely.
unfortunately, your gig platforms don't know how much you spend. So we still would need the bank sync at least for the expenses part, because if that's the only way we could automatically track and monitor the expenses for business.
Yeah, then it becomes like another opportunity, right? I mean, how do I only want to track income. It's okay. I'll get my
Mm,
insights. Yep, you can do that. You can connect with your gig platform, multiple ones that you work with, get the incomes analysis. And I think Benji kind of called it out, right? Like we could be telling you what is the optimal time to work. If you want to make some slight adjustments to earn a bit more, what platforms to use, what days, and we could be telling a mileage per hours and so on and so forth. Real actionable insights. That's what we kind of always are striving to provide you. Well, then why should I sync bank account? You can still do it because it gives you the expense side of things. If you want to maximize your tax deductions, if you want us to prepare a summary report that you can just on a click of a button send it to your accountant to file your tax returns, yep, that's going to be possible when you sync your bank statements. So
yep.
two different ways, two different use cases. Recommend that you do both.
I'm looking at the time. We got a minute and a half. We got some action items on the communication part. That's really good. I think for us, we can take that and action it over the next month, next coming weeks, one by one. Um, is there anything that we missed to talk about? Anything to highlight? Anything to share?
I think
No,
I'm
I
good
think
at the moment.
I think it's a very important conversation that we had, and it's very exciting to know that one of the major concerns that most users have around having to sync bank account is going to be solved very soon. So we're all excited for that.
Yes,
Looking
yes.
forward to it.
Yes. I also think we should probably do this session again in a month or 2 months time, because we've created some actions. I think we should go execute that action and come back and talk about what we have done, and what has that helped us, and then what can we do more. I think this particular topic it needs another live session. So I'm also wanting to see how we get to improve the security, and most importantly, I think this is also about the relationship with us and the community. It's it's important that gig workers come together, and as a community, that's what we have done. We want to build that space for to share, to connect, to trust each other, to also actually this is the only way we could actually hack this game, is to be together and to actually work on this together. Now there are different problems that we can't solve, right? And we can't we can't fight against the government. We are not a formal union of some sort, but we can't do certain things. But what we can do is bring us together to talk about how we can build your life financially secure, and also educate you how to be smart at work, so that you are not throwing yourself at risk. Um, so my call to action for those who are listening this video, I've got two things. One, share your comments, feedbacks, thoughts on this video on the comments, or just reach out to us through our page, email, doesn't matter. Next thing is, if you don't know what we do, go check out mygigsters.com.au. We got some fantastic stuff there. It's free to download and go give it a try. If you're a gig worker, you're just starting, or you're a gig worker who has got experience, I am inviting you to an amazing place called Community for Self-Employed Freelancers and MyGigsters. That's a community that we have in Facebook. It's a private community. We have close to 400 really active members. Come and join the community. We will invite with a lot of love, take you on board, and as a community, we focus on uplifting ourselves financially secure. On that note, 41 minutes, 47 seconds. I'm going to say bye to everyone, and we will see you on the next live chat.
Thank you. Bye.